Chapter 3. Word came in that the enemies were about to enter the kingdom through the mountains. The strongest battalion with the fastest riders were ordered to reach the mountain as quickly as possible and guard the entry route till the rest of the forces reached them. The king blessed the full battalion along with his son, who was the commander of the battalion. All the people of the city came out on the streets to pray for them and wish them luck. Once they were out of the city, they increased their pace and rode quickly towards the mountains. As they reached the outer end of the mountain, they waited in hiding for the enemies to approach. After waiting for some time, they saw flags at a long distance. It was a huge army comprising of soldiers from 6 different kingdoms. They looked strong and huge. They marched towards the mountain with confidence, and they were prepared to take over the kingdom. On the other side, the prince was giving motivation to his soldiers. This is our motherland. This is our home. We don't have anywhere else to go, and we will not let anyone else take it from us. So if we have to, we will fight and we will win. As the armies approached and got into the attacking range, they stopped. A messenger was sent to the prince with the message, "Surrender now or die." To which the prince replied, "Death is preferable over surrender." The moment the messenger reached the enemy army, there was a huge war cry, and drums signaled the army to move forward. When the enemy forces were a few miles away, the prince heard a loud war cry even closer to him, but from behind. He turned around and saw soldiers coming out from behind the trees. They were enemy soldiers. It was all a trap. A battalion of enemy soldiers had already reached the mountains and had hid themselves in the forest. They had waited for the armies to come, and now, as they had trapped their enemies from both sides, it was time for them to attack. The prince quickly moved to the other side of the formation, as the soldiers who were approaching from behind were closer to them and were the first to attack. Swords touched, and the battle began. Both soldiers fought bravely and ferociously. The prince was at the front of it all. He was killing the enemies easily and quickly. His soldiers were fighting with him like a single unit. Soon there were no enemies left. The battalion made a loud war cry and turned towards the enemies who were approaching from the front. They were a few meters away, but just as the prince turned, an arrow came from the trees and hit him on his back. His nearest soldier saw the arrow coming and quickly threw a knife towards the direction and killed the enemy who was hiding. The prince was quickly carried to the back, away from the approaching enemy. He had gone unconscious. It seemed like the arrow had poison on it. The second commander asked a soldier to take the prince back to the palace.